Welcome to sadness. Population 1. All my friends have left me. They look back at me with eyes of pity. Come back, friends. Let's talk together. Laugh together. But no, you turn away as if you've never met. Speak up, friends. Ask away. I'll tell you anything. It was me. These are the hands that pulled Sono underwater. In my satanic insolence, I prayed for my salvation in the same breath that I prayed Sono would die. The Flowers of Buffoonery, or Doke no Hana, is a prequel to Osamu Dazai's most well-known work, No Longer Human. It touches on the emotional roller coaster of the protagonist Yozo Oba from No Longer Human. Unlike No Longer Human, which delves deeply into existential crisis and alienation, The Flower of Buffoonery focuses on the second event, a failed attempt from the same novel. But within this scope lies a mosaic of emotions, humor, and human connection. The Flowers of Buffoonery, Doke no Hana, released in 1935, is considered a prequel to No Longer Human, with No Longer Human releasing in 1948, preceding it by 13 years. The book perfectly encapsulates the fleeting absurdities of youth while brushing up against the dark undertones of despair, hopelessness, and guilt. The Flowers of Buffoonery is narrated in the third person's perspective, but the narrator, a self-conscious writer, makes frequent first-person asides, breaking the fourth wall, as he comments on the quality or believability of the novel he is writing. At times, the unnamed writer calls this book a masterpiece, while at other times he grumbles and dismisses it as a work of a hack. Having these instances of fourth wall breaking is what fascinated me about this piece of work, as it allows the reader to see an unfiltered version of the author himself. The story begins with the protagonist, Yozo, recovering in a hospital after jumping into the sea in an attempt to end his life alongside a woman named Sono. However, Yozo would survive, being saved by a passing fishing boat sailing into port. Sono's body, however, would be later found, washed up on a beach nearby. Yozo knew Sono was dead. He knew it from the moment that the fishing boat had picked him up from the choppy waves. When he came to, under the starlight, the first thing that he asked was, "Is she dead?" But the fisherman assured him in a voice thick with benevolence, "She ain't dead, she ain't dead. No need to worry." So she is dead, he told himself, but soon lost consciousness afterwards. After the whole incident, he would be hospitalized in the sanitarium nearby the place of the incident. He was under the care of a nurse named Mano, which is one of the main characters, or one of the main prevalent characters in the story. Soon after, two detectives paid Yozo a visit, investigating him about the whole ordeal. One, a man with a mustache, and the other with steel-framed glasses. Mustache lowered his voice and asked how he and Sono had become acquainted with each other. Yozo told everything there was to tell. Mustache took notes on a little memo pad. Once he was finished with his first round of questions, Mustache leaned over the bed and said, "She's dead, you know, and I'm not so sure you're prepared to join her." Yozo was silent. Steel-framed glasses smiled and clapped his mustachioed partner on the shoulder. All right, he's tired, it can wait." As soon as the detectives made their leave, Mano came rushing back into the room, only to find Yozo in tears. He is then later visited by Hida, a friend back from school, and also Kosuge, his cousin whom he grew up with. The two of them would try to lighten up the mood by cracking jokes and teasing around. Yozo also, of course, chimes in. Instead of falling into despair, he copes by using humor, though he sees through the superficiality but continues to play along with it regardless. Hida and Kosuge would, however, oscillate between teasing him and expressing genuine concern. These interactions highlight the complex dynamics of camaraderie and often unspoken ways people process trauma. These guys were laughing all the time, cracking up at the dumbest things, completely besides themselves. For these boys, smiling came as naturally as breathing, and laughter easy as exhalation. Makes you wonder where they picked up the habit. To them, laughing was safe, but not laughing posed a serious risk. They found it irresistible. One might say that they were gluttonous for laughter, unable to pass up even a stray crumb, out of fear that they might be questioned for withholding. The sad thing about all of this, however, is none of them could laugh from the bottom of their bellies. It was around the middle of the novel, however, that Dazai, as an author, unfiltered feelings are revealed. I'm horrified by my failure. I can't bear to have the secrets of my heart revealed. But such efforts are in vain. Are not all authors the same? So quick to dress up their confessions, I barely qualify as human. Will I ever be a functional member of society? Even as I write these words, I worry how the sentences will sound. Time to face the facts. This pattern of inserting myself as a narrator between scenes so that I can burden you with my endless rants that no one needs to hear as an ulterior motive. I've been exploiting my narrative position to hoodwink readers, using this first-person narrator to infuse the work with the idiosyncratic nuance. I was arrogant enough to think that I could be the first Japanese author to employ such a sublimely Western style. And yet, I failed. But no, even this confession of a failure can be counted as part of the novel's grand design. So you see, I can't be trusted. Don't believe a single word I say. Even as I tried of my overzealous tacky prose, I searched high and low for some small part worth saving. Yet over time, the passion of my heart grew cold, and now I'm pooped. Alas, the novel must be written from a place of innocence. What's that you say? Beautiful feelings make bad literature? Bullshit! Never had I heard such treacherous a phrase. Without transcendence, who could write a novel to completion? Every word and every sentence would assail the heart with a dozen possible meanings until you have no choice but to snap your pen in half and toss it in the trash. If this book does become a classic, goodness, have I lost my mind. Surely these asides are doing you more than harm than good. You don't need me. You can draw your own conclusions, things the author never could imagine. Then you'll tell it from the mountains why this novel is a classic, crying out for all to hear. Boy, do the dead masters have it good. Meanwhile, the hacks up here among the living waste themselves away, burying their work in the misguided commentary, in the hopes that it might win the admiration of even one more reader. Though the result is an abomination, laden with ridiculously tedious asides. Alas, I lack the fortitude to throw a pie in my own face and bellow, "Pull yourself together, man." I guess I'll never be a great writer. I'm a softie, I'll admit it. At least we figured that much out. A softie through and through. But in my softness I find peace. However fleeting. It doesn't matter anymore. Forget I said anything. It would seem the flowers of buffoonery have shriveled up at last, and shriveled up into a mean, disgusting, dirty mess while they were at it. These lines of fourth wall breaking conveys a heavy weight from the narrator or Dazai himself. It reveals something deep and sort of raw emotions that moved me to tears. It's just something about it that feels so real and so sad at the same time. Anyways, it was towards the end of the book where Yozo, Hida, and Kosuge would visit the place where Yozo tried to take his own life. "That's where we jumped," he said, eyes open wide as if this were a punchline. Kosuge was quiet. He couldn't help but wonder about what was going on in Yozo's heart. Behind his even-keeled delivery, which isn't to say that Yozo sounded neutral, just that he knew how to say this sort of thing without flinching. "Shall we head back?" asked Hida, pinching his kimono with both hands to keep the hem of the sand. The three of them reversed course and walked back up to the beach. The sea was calm. In the noonday sun, it was a sheet of white. Yozo tossed a stone in the water and said, "It felt great. I knew the second that I jumped, all of my problems would be gone. No more worries about debt or the academy, or family, or regrets, or my masterpiece, or Marxism, or even about any of my friends, or trees, or flowers. Suddenly, I'm on the cliff and laughing. It felt great. At the end of the novel, nothing dramatic happens. Yozo doesn't find redemption, and the world doesn't suddenly make sense. But that's the point. Life keeps moving, ridiculous as ever, and Yozo is left like the rest of us, trying to figure out how to keep going in the midst of all. The story is rather simple with no climax or anything of that sort, but it instead focuses heavily on dialogue between each character present. Similar to the nature of the novel, I'm not quite sure where to go with this video, as the book isn't easy to explain or summarize without glossing over the little nuances in the writings that makes up the majority of what makes the piece good. Especially the fourth wall breaking. Instead of ending the video in a well-constructed sentences with a written out script, with the themes of this book, I'm just going to be sharing my thoughts haphazardly. The Flowers of Buffoonery isn't about dramatic revelations or grand resolution. It's about these quiet moments, and uncomfortable ones at that, where life feels both heavy and absurd. Through Yozo, Osamu Dazai captures the uniquely human mix, alienation, and humor, showing us how fragile and ridiculous existence can be. I recommend you read this yourself. I feel like words can't do the book justice. It is a rather heavy book in terms of content, so I advise you to go with a steady heart and mind. It's a short read, but it lingers with you, making you question how you see others and yourself. Okay, I lied. I ended up writing the script for the outro anyways. Welcome to Sadness, Population Zero.